folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. Today we're going to get into the whiskey barrel cutout nuke that was combined onto a queenless nuke. So if you want to see the video of the whiskey barrel cutout, I'll put a link to that below, or you can go back in my beekeeping playlist and it should be about 2 or 3 videos back. It's called Whiskey, Beers, and Bees in a Barrel, I think is what I called it. So we're going to get into that nuke. It's the farthest one on the right. So the whiskey barrel bees are on the top, and the bottom was a queenless nuke that didn't pan out. And if I find the queen, we're going to move it over to Hive 13. And Hive 13, if you remember, was the hive that was queenless, and it was a swarm cell split, unsuccessful. I put a frame of brood in there with eggs, did the on-the-spot queen rearing notch method on those cells. They drew down the queens, and the queen emerged, went out to mate, and didn't return. So I did that twice, and still no queen. And I think I even put a donor queen in there, a cell, swarm cell from another hive, and that emerged, and then that one didn't work out. So 3 tries they've had. Actually, that makes 4, and it's still queenless. So it's not lucky 13, it's unlucky 13. So if we find the queen over here from the whiskey barrel cutout, we're going to combine that over there, do a newspaper combine, and get them onto number 13. Let's get in there and see what we find. Okay, here is the whiskey barrel cutout, and got some activity going on there in the front. Looks pretty good. Got their newspaper on there. It's actually not newspaper, it's just some paper I have from packing materials, what it is. So let's get in here and see what we can find. Hopefully we find that queen. If not, we're going to have to come up with a different plan. Not many bees in the top. Wasn't a lot of bees in the top to start with. This was the frame I put in there with some comb, because all their comb was pretty much destroyed in the cutout of the whiskey barrel. So they had honey, pollen, and bee bread in here that they could live off of. And I put a nice frame next to it, suitable for laying, that queen might like. And they put some nectar up in there. Got a nice ring of nectar right here. I don't see the queen. She has laid there though. So we have eggs and larvae right here. See if I can get you a shot of that. Let's make sure she's not on this side first. Yeah, I don't see her. So she's probably migrated down into the bottom, because there's no comb left basically. Right there you can see 2 larvae. And around in these cells around that, I did see eggs. I don't know if I'm getting them in this video. There's a little larva right there. So she did lay some up here. So this comb over here is from the cutout, and it was in bad shape. There's virtually no paper left below. They have totally cleared that out. These may as well be replaced. I mean, there's nothing there really. So there was some honey in these ones here, and they've cleaned that up, looks like, which was beneficial to the hive below them as well. But boy, they have cleared out that paper. I've never seen one do such a good job. We'll get you a shot of that here in a second. But just looking on these for that queen possibly. Nope. So we'll set this aside here, and If we do this combined over there with number 13, if we're successful, I will probably replace these frames here that have the cutout comb on them. Just take them out and recycle that wax. So let's look down below. So that's how well they've taken care of that paper. It is completely gone. I've never seen one take 100% of the paper out. Usually there's a little bit of residual left. And this is like packing paper you get like in a shipping package that they just cram in whatever they shipped to keep it from rolling around. But, we'll get down in here and see if we find her. See how these bees are nice and chill? They just are chilled and laid back and not doing anything. That's a sign that there's a good queen laying in here. It's been my experience anyway. Another sign that bees are chill like that is they're completely out of food and they're lethargic. They don't have any energy. And we know that's not the case because we saw honey. There's an empty frame. Little drawn out wax right here. That's empty, no eggs. Empty, no eggs. Don't see the queen. This is laid up big time here. Lots of larvae. It's just covered with them. All around here. She's filled this up. Oops. Beekeeper says oops. Not a good sign. Same thing on this side. All laid up, full of fairly mature larvae. So it's been 8 days since we did this combine and did that cutout. So those larvae are 8 days old. So if you remember from the whiskey barrel cutout, I was concerned about the queen, because I knocked the box over off the whiskey barrel when I was putting it back together, and the queen escaped the clip when that happened. So it appears she's in here. This is all laid up as well, right in here. Same thing here, all laid up. A little bit of capped, which I would think it's a little early to be capped. I may be wrong. 8 days. Where is she? So even this outside frame has fresh eggs. So I thought I was going to find her on this frame. My bee goggles are broken. They're just not working right. She is definitely in here. But I want to see her before I go moving this. Oh! She's right there. Just went through that hole. It's right there. My viewfinder brightness is really low for some reason. I'm having a hard trouble seeing. There she is. Bam. So I'm gonna get her marked before we move her. Get our one-handed queen catcher going here. So I'm gonna kind of prime my pin right here. Get it nice and wet out on the tip. Get the cover on. It's ready to go. So this plunger on the bottom has a built-in stop, so you can't push it and smash the bees too bad, but you can. But I just want to point out it does have a stop. So I'm going to raise it up nice and slow, get my pin ready here. And there's some worker bees in there with her. But you want to kind of wait till she gets lined up with these little lines here and get that part of her back where you can mark it. There, see how she's stuck in right there? She can't move and she's not being squished. And I'm able to mark her nice and easy here. And when you pull this down, pull it down fast. That way it doesn't smear. Smearing is bad. She can smear that, get it all over her wings, all over the other bees. So we'll get her back over in the shade, let this dry while we get that hive back together, and then we'll release her. Okay, so our queen is right here. So we'll put this back together. Then we'll release her right here. Well, she's sitting on that last frame, so I'll just go ahead and release her now. Boy, these are some gentle bees. I hope they stay that way. So again, I got my eye on my queen, and I'm not going to open this flap until she's off the door. She's on it right now. Kind of move it slow. There she comes out right there. She's right at the edge. There she's out. She's right there going down. And these bees here still smell her. They're like, hey, where is she? Okay, so that's phase one of the transformation of going from the whiskey barrel to a combine here with this queenless nuke. She's laid this up nice. So very nice queen. She is likely from a swarm that swarmed and found that whiskey barrel. That comb was brand new. So those bees that came from the whiskey barrel are gonna really be some good comb builders for a while because they're part swarm, but they weren't a whole lot of them. So probably half the bees in here are whiskey barrel and half are from the queenless nuke. So I'm gonna get the top back on here and get a deep body, get it over to Hive 13. We'll transport this over there and put them in one frame at a time. And I'm going to get 4 new frames to replace those cutout frames. Okay, here's Hive 13. So we want to check it first. We got activity out here. So we want to make sure this hive, first of all, doesn't have a queen, which I know it doesn't, but I want to make sure it's not full of wax moths and hive beetles taking it over. And because we don't want to combine a nice queen onto a hive that's fixing to fail. Cockroach! Ah! Boy, that one was fast. Missed him. He was tough too. I got him like 3 times. Need to work on my left-handed backhand, I guess. So you can see, not a lot of population in here. We only got 9 frames, so we do need to get another frame and bring it up so they've got 10. So see, this is full of honey and it's unprotected and nectar. This was a strong hive coming out of winter, and they had a lot of stores, and I moved a lot of stores off to other hives and through the hole. So it was an old queen, and that's right, this was an old queen and they superseded her, and the supersedure failed. And then after that I tried a swarm cell and then 2 on the spot queen rears. And also I put in there's a T right here, a transplant queen cell. Yeah, so I'm not really looking for a queen, I'm just checking the condition of this hive. Make sure I don't see a bunch of web from wax moth trails. Seeing a few larvae here, but they're sticking up, so they're drones. So we got some laying worker going on. If I find a queen, I'll just be completely bumfuzzled. There's a queen in here. She downright sucks because she's not doing nothing. This is basically an empty box, just waiting to be taken over by pests. Got all that bee bread just waiting to feed a bunch of larvae that are not existent. Okay, it looks good. So gonna get me a deep box to put those frames in from the Whiskey Barrel Queen. This will be her new home. I could really reduce this down to a single deep, but that might be the second step. It's hot and I'm about to croak, so we need to get out of here. I'm just going to leave that top off for now. So I got these old frames that look like they're out in the sun for a while, but I put brand new foundation in and gave it a coat of wax. Got 20 marked in here for 2020. So that'll give them 10 frames there. So this is not newspaper, this is packing paper. Comes from Amazon. It's pretty lightweight stuff too. Works good. So like before, we're gonna cut some little slits in here. Help the bees work their way through. So this way they can get on through and they can acclimate to the other hive slowly. Honestly, I think I could probably just set it on there without this paper because there's so few population down here, and they're queenless, and they would accept this queen. So I think probably the main reason I'm doing the newspaper is so when I put the hive on top, they have to work their way through this paper and they will reorient to this location. So I won't lose too many field bees. There's a lot of field bees out right now and I'm going to lose them anyway, but that's how she goes. So we got 4 more frames in here. These are brand new, wax coated right sill. All right, let's go bring the nukes over. Okay, so ideally you would want to do this in the evening when all your field bees are back. But I'm crunched for time today because I got things I got to get done besides this, so we're just going to go with it. So this is the nectar frame here. I'm just looking quick for that queen we marked blue. I'm going to take these out for now until I get everything over here, and I'll put them in. I'm going to try and put these nectar frames to the outside. So here's the whiskey barrel comb. We're just going to shake them off. We're not going to save any of that. This will be recycled. We'll melt this down and use it later. Okay, we've got 5 frames left in the bottom. We'll shake these off here. Emptier frames will go to the outside. Here's our marked queen right here. See her blue dot? I hope that's in frame. She goes right there. So, positive ID on the queen. Going into the hive. Bam, right there she is. So now we'll scoot these in, and those blanks will go on the outside. Oh, well, that's 10. I got an extra one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so these are brand new, wax coated from Man Lake. So I'm going to take that out and I'm going to put one in that I coated myself, and it's got extra wax on it. And I'll put it right here. A lot of times these new frames, if they don't draw them out and you put them in late in the year, bees will take all the wax off of them. And then they won't draw it out later the next year. So you got to keep your eye out and make sure your frames have good wax coating on them. Otherwise they won't touch them. A lot of people say plastic foundation's no good. Well, yeah, if it don't have wax on it, they're not going to mess with it. They'll draw across, comb, and make it all messy. But if it's got wax on it, it's good to go. Ah, I forgot the most important step. A lot of bees in this box here. A lot of bees on this bottom board. I don't want to shake it in there. I want to tilt it first and let all the junk fall off of it. Then I'll shake it. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Whiskey Barrel Queen has moved twice in 8 days, I think it's been. So she won't know the difference. She's going to lay this up. So all that brood, I think there was 3 frames laid up in there, are going to emerge out. This is going to get a lot stronger. And for the fall flow coming up, about the time those are all emerging and strong, the fall flow, they'll have a more population to bring in some nectar for that. There's quite a bit of stores in there, but this hive may need fed. It may need reduced down to a single 10 frame deep later on, going into winter. We'll just have to watch it. But anyway, so Hive 13 finally has a laying queen, and we know it's good. So that's the end of the video. If you would, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're almost to 6,000 now. So appreciate you all that stick around, and we'll catch you on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.